Hello. Today I want to go over briefly a overview of the Dainese Hekla AbsoluteShell pants. This is one of their new for late 2022, mid 2022, going into 2023 touring offerings aimed at wet weather, cool weather to I'd say mild. It's like a three-season colder side adventure touring. It is a laminated pant using their new AbsoluteShell branded membrane, which is a 20K waterproof, 20K breathable PTFE, very similar to Goretex's offerings. And it's a very nicely constructed item. So let's go ahead and step through it. Like I already mentioned, it's a laminated item, which means that it's using a membrane bonded to your external fabrics. So if these wet out, that has a bit of a water repellency treatment on the outside. Once that is overcome by water pressure, you have that membrane in the middle, sandwiched between the outer fabric and an inner liner to prevent water from getting to your skin. Again, it's a PTFE membrane, which is the same sort of basically Teflon that Goretex uses, Event, a few others. 20K waterproof is a very high water column rating, more than enough for long durations in the rain. 20K breathable means that if it's not raining, you're going to get some water vapor exiting from the inside if there's a pressure differential, and it'll be fairly comfortable. So it's a good membrane, at least on paper. I haven't had the chance to ride in it over a full season and see how well it holds up, but I wanted to kind of cover this as an overview of a pant that people might be interested in because pant reviews always seem to be a little bit lacking. So having talked about the basic construction here or concept, let's talk a little about sizing. So I'm 5'10". I have about a 32-inch inseam, about a 32.5-inch jeans waist. And looking at the size chart, I fall somewhere between a 48 and a 50. I wound up sizing up to a 50, and I probably could have sized down to a 48 without issue. So I would say it fits a like athletic touring cut true to size, with the included thermal pants, thermal liner in. It's maybe a little bit tight. So I think if I'd stepped down to a 48, I probably could not use the thermal comfortably, but I could have used a different, much lighter thermal instead. Other things on fit, I will show briefly here that you can get these over top of very bulky boots without issue. So those include things like a CD X Power, size 47 Euro, 12.5 US, which is a slimmer upper boot, but still it's a full MX boot. And I had no issues getting them over my size 48, 13 US Garnet Descartes Venture boots as well. And additionally, if you want, you can wear them inside of a adventure or MX boot if you prefer that sort of look and feel. Because of how they're constructed, you can unzip the lower leg gusset and you don't have uncomfortable pressure points beyond the basic bulk of the pant. So there is a kind of a nice flexibility there. Let's walk through the exterior since I've kind of started talking about it. You have two different colorways where this kind of gray fabric here, or like almost an army green fabric. This is what they call their quick dry nylon. So that's, you have the membrane laminated to I'd say it's probably something like a 400D nylon, maybe 2 to 400. So fairly lightweight. Not the most durable thing on earth, but it's very soft. It feels nice, it's good to wear, and it obviously dries quickly if it gets wet. You have a relatively new fabric from what I've seen from Dainese, which is a ripstop nylon. It's very similar to Climb's 630D nylon, so I'd say it's probably like a 500 to 600D nylon in a ripstop configuration. Here on the inside of the legs on a long strip that runs up to the knee, so if you're hugging your bike, this will prevent some additional wear. And then here at the knee as well, your usual wear panel. I will say that they don't use double layers of fabric anywhere, so you only have this single layer at the knees and then a single layer at the seat, which is unfortunate, and the seat is not ripstop. But above the knee area, you do have a very nice panel of stretch material. which lets you get a lot of flexibility in the seated position, and it lets the leg be a fairly trim fit without binding. So that's very nice. As usual, Dainese has that Italian style and fit that some of us prefer. Um, Also up here on the leg, you have a pair of waist adjusters on either side that let you snug the pant in a fair bit. You have a long straight vent that runs down the top of your thighs. You're not going to get a whole lot of air there if you're riding, but it is a good size vent. And if you're standing, you might get a fair bit of air. I will say something I've noticed, and I'll kind of grab a close-up photo, is that the vent appears kind of blocked from the inside by the way they've sewn the fabric. So I think the air ingress is fairly limited. You have very nice large cargo pockets on either side. They are both waterproof, as you can see, with a waterproof zipper and laminated fabric. And then here at the lower leg, like I said, you have a large gusset that lets you get these over MX boots without issue. On the back, you have Velcro that lets you tighten it down quite a bit if you want to snug it down around smaller boots or around the inside of your leg. Again, if you're going to run on the inside, I'd leave this unzipped. And then you have a elastication here at the front, so it'll snug in around a boot and prevent air from getting up your leg, and it makes for a very clean finish. Flipping it over very briefly, it does have a gusseted construction all along the inside here. So you have a separate fabric panel, which helps with flexibility when you throw a leg over the bike. It doesn't kind of pull in to your nether regions. And you have more of that stretch material below the connecting zipper here. So if you're riding and you bend forward a little bit, you have a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of flexibility there. Talking briefly about interior construction, you have at the seat a large panel of 3D mesh, which helps insulate you from a cold seat, from a wet seat, and also helps your butt breathe better, given that it is a laminated fabric that spacing will help water vapor to escape while also preventing kind of pressure differential ingress. It's a nice design. Not a whole lot of folks do that, and it's always nice to see Dainese, who in their high-end touring pants tends to put some 3D mesh in there. Also on the inside, you have what they've started doing on some of their higher end stuff, which is a 3D mesh panel behind the knee armor. So where your knee sits, and you see this in some of their other newer touring jackets at the elbow and shoulders as well, you have a panel 3D mesh to keep the armor away from your skin, which aids in both comfort and breathability. Briefly on safety, I touched on the mild amount of kind of abrasion resistance from ripstop here. Again, only a single layer, standard, not super high in your nylon on the seat. And then for armor, you have their new Pro armor. This is a level 2 armor. It is fairly flexible, but also very, very hard. It's almost like a rubbery plastic feeling. So that 3D mesh is doing a lot of work in keeping you comfortable, because otherwise you get these fractal ridges like honeycombs right on your skin, which is not great feeling. And then at the hips, you have their new Pro Armor Level 1 hip protectors. They're fairly small, they're fairly thin, they're unnoticeable, but not the most protective things on Earth. And then, like I said, there is a thermal liner. It kind of ends partially down the above the kind of mid leg, so it doesn't mess with getting things over your boots. It's a fairly basic thermal liner, but it's nice that it's included, and it will make it more versatile going into the cold. And yeah, that kind of wraps up the overview of the fit and features of the Dainese Hekla AbsoluteShell pants. Like I said, they should be very waterproof. They're a nice offering. They have a very trim fit. They fit great over or inside of a variety of adventure and touring boots. The safety is pretty on par with what you get. I think Climb is a little bit better because they tend to use double layers of fabrics in your impact points. The armor is new, a little bit uncomfortable, but again, they've taken some steps to do that. And one cool feature about these is that these are made in Armenia. So these are, Dainese remains one of the few companies that still makes some of their higher end gear in Europe that I've seen. One of the few big producers of garments. So that's, in my opinion, nice to see, and a little kind of side bit there. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.